Hello friends, welcome to our channel CBSE English, the Topper's Choice. In today's video, we are going to discuss Class 10th, third poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. At first, we'll talk about the poet of this poem. Leslie Norris is the poet of this poem. George Leslie Norris was born on 21st May 1921 and died on 6th April 2006. He was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He taught at academic institutions in Britain and the United States, including Brigham Young University. Norris is considered one of the most important Welsh writers of the post-war period, and his literary publications have won many prizes. Norris published his first poem in 1938, and by 1943 he published his first book of poetry. His career as a poet began to take off when his first collection, Finding Gold, was published in 1967. By 1980, Norris published 3 volumes in the Phoenix Living Poets. His publication, Ransoms, had won the Poetry Society's Alice Hunt Bartlett Prize in 1970. Theme of this poem. The poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, shifts back and forth between the settings of the zoo and the jungle. It establishes the difference and contrasts the life of tiger in the zoo and its natural habitat, that is, forest. Leslie Norris describes that everybody, including the animals, enjoys their freedom, and therefore being caged only frustrates the zoo animals too, and that is why we should not cage them and let them live in their natural homes. Introduction to this poem. The poem A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris, contrasts a tiger in the zoo with the tiger in its natural habitat. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. The poem elucidates the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. Summary of this poem. In the first stanza, the poet describes the appearance of a tiger in the zoo. He says that the stripes on the tiger's body are visible from a distance. These stripes are darker in color than the rest of his body structure. The tiger moves in the cage, but can walk only a few steps as the cage is small. He walks quietly due to its smooth velvet pads. The tiger is full of anger, but he suppresses it due to his helplessness. In the second stanza, the poet imagines the life of the tiger in the jungle. He describes the other side of the tiger when he is a free animal. The poet says that in the natural habitat, that is, the dark forest, the tiger would have been lying in the shadow of the tree or hiding in the long grass to prevent other animals from noticing his movement. In this way, He would reach the water hole where all the animals of the forest come to drink water. When a deer would pass through the water hole, he would attack him and have him as a meal for the day. In the third stanza, the poet says that the tiger would be growling at the edge of the jungle near the village. The tiger would show his white, long, sharp teeth and long, carved nails while moving here and there to scare the villagers. Here, the poet wants to convey that if we destroy the forests, then tigers will forcefully come out to towns and villages for their food. Thus, they will become the cause of terror to humans. In the fourth stanza, the poet stops imagining the tiger's forest life and returns to the real condition. The poet says that the tiger is locked in a strong cell, which is made up of sturdy material. He has all the strength and power, but he is still behind bars. The tiger moves slowly and quietly in his cage and pays no attention to people who are coming to see him. In the last stanza, the poet says that the tiger does not sleep at night. He hears the sound of the patrolling car. The noise of the patrolling car disturbs the tiger and does not allow him to sleep. He keeps staring at the stars with his brilliant eyes. He gets lost in his thoughts and wonders why he has been imprisoned in the cage. Now we'll discuss the poetic devices used in this poem. Number 1, rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme used in this poem is ABCB, that is, second line rhymes with fourth line, and ABCB is the rhyming scheme of all 5 stanzas. Number 2, alliteration. It means the repetition of consonant sounds, especially at the beginning of the words. See, for example, plump pass. It is used in stanza number 2. Here, the sound P is repeated. Use of sound B in behind bars in stanza number 4. Use of sound H in he hears in stanza number 5. So in plump pass, behind bars, he hears, alliteration, this figure of speech is used. Number 3, oxymoron means use of 2 words with opposite meanings. It is used in these words of the poem Quiet Rage in stanza number 1. Number 4, metaphor. It means a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. Pads of velvet. Here in stanza number 1, metaphor is used. It means tiger's paws are compared with velvet. Number 5, consonants. It means the repetition of consonants or consonant patterns, especially at the ends of words. It is used here in these words of the poem. Stalks, his, stripes. So here, S, this consonant sound is repeated in stanza number 1. His, fangs, his, claws. Here again, S sound is repeated in stanza number 3. his, bars. Again, s sound is repeated in stanza number 4. Number 6, assonance. It means words that have the same or very similar vowel sounds near one another. It is used in this line of the poem, in his vivid stripes. It is in stanza number 1 and use of vowel sound E. Around houses. Here, ow, this vowel sound is used in stanza number 3. Bearing his. Again, E, this vowel sound is used. It is in stanza number 3. With his brilliant. It is in stanza number 5 and use of vowel sound E. Number 7, personification. It means the attribution of human characteristics to something non-human. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he in stanza number 1 and stanza number 4. Number 8, imagery. The poet tries to create an image about the tiger. See, for example, the poet says, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage in stanza number 1 and lurking in shadow in stanza number 2. Now we'll discuss the main points of this poem. The tiger is not in his natural habitat. The wilds of the jungle are the natural habitat of the tiger. Unfortunately, the denizen of the forest has been confined to a caged habitat in a zoo. He is no more free to roam about in the forest, but walks within the length and breadth of his cage. He has dark spots on his skin which are clearly visible even from a distance. Condemned to live in his cage, he walks around quietly with his velvety soft feet. He is angry but has to suppress it. In his quiet rage, he continues walking up and down his caged habitat. The poet imagines how the tiger should behave if he is in his natural habitat, that is, the wild jungle. There, he should be silently hiding in the shadow, remains unnoticed. Sliding through the long grass, he should move stealthily to ambush his prey. He knows where he can find his kill in the wild. His favorite hunt is plump deer, which he can find near the water hole. Sometimes he comes out of the forest and strays in the human settlement at the edge of the jungle. There he terrorizes the villagers by opening out his white fangs or the long teeth and the claws. His ferocious looks frighten the villagers. However, he has no intention of entering the village and killing anybody until he is highly provoked. Unfortunately, the mighty tiger is cursed to live in a concrete cell in the zoo. Many visitors come to see him in the zoo, but he doesn't like the stares of the visitors. He simply ignores their presence. Now he is made to limit his movements only to the length and breadth of his caged habitat. The tiger keeps awake till late in the night. He hears the noise of the patrolling cars moving around in the zoo. The brilliant stars shine in the sky, and his brilliant eyes shine in the night. He can't free himself, but he keeps on watching the brilliant stars standing behind the bars of his caged habitat. So dear friends, if you have liked this video, please click on like, subscribe the channel and click on the bell icon to get more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching.